Welcome back. It is 10:34 right here in the heart of the Riverbend on the 7th day of December. And joining us now is Caprice Sweatt with Medical Cannabis Outreach. A great conversation coming our way. Caprice, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. How beautiful is Colorado today? Is that where you guys are?
We are in Colorado, and it's an absolutely perfect day. Sun's shining and, going to be probably in the 50s, which you can't complain in December. And it's just really nice out. So.
Absolutely. And it's such an honor to have you on the show, Caprice. And I mean that because I want to set the stage a little bit to kind of get our listeners and our viewers a little bit more familiar with you guys. You guys, you and Eric, your husband, kind of are responsible, in a positive way for helping bring the medical, legalize medical cannabis in the state. Is that correct?
Oh, correct. So basically some background on what had happened to us is I have Crohn's disease. I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease at the age of 17. And from there, I had graduated high school. I grew up in a small town in Illinois, in Canton, Illinois, and I graduated high school and I moved to Colorado shortly after. And from there, Colorado legalized medical cannabis. And I was one of the first people on I was actually the seventh person is what the actual number is, the seventh person on the program in Colorado when they first legalized medical cannabis. And from there, I gained so much experience and my life changed so much because I was able to stop taking, I think I was taking about 9 different medications a day, every day. And with the assistance of my physician, who was open-minded to cannabis at that time, we worked on eliminating those prescription pills. And from there, cannabis just absolutely changed my life. And then we came back to Illinois in 2014 when it looked like Governor Quinn was going to sign that, the medical cannabis bill. And before that vote, we were back there in lobbying and working with different political groups trying to convince people to take a look at medical cannabis and stop this stigma and really look at the medical benefits of what it can provide people.
And you know what, Capri, there is nobody better to tell us about those benefits than I think from yourself with personal experience and your guys' vast knowledge in the industry. And just right off the bat, I have known so many people that they they were going through cancer, a very serious cancer, and they couldn't even eat, and then cannabis was able to give them some type of appetite to build up some type of strength to fight against some of the effects of chemo and some of the diseases that they're facing. I mean, that seems to be a pretty common theme among people that have very serious illnesses.
Absolutely. And so really, cannabis, we're not out here trying to say that cannabis cures anything because no substantial funding has been put into research, sadly. But what we are saying is that quality of life can change for so many people when they take a look at medical cannabis and use it properly. Just like you mentioned, especially for myself, cancer patients, especially who have problems with digesting food, or it may cause horrible pain, or there's no appetite at all. You would be amazed at the people that we've seen come back around. And for myself, I'm able to eat without having horrible pain, and I'm able to function. I actually have six grandchildren right now, but I've lived a life, my adult life, using medical cannabis. So I've had a full life. And I attribute it to the benefits that medical cannabis, because it's relieved so many symptoms. We have so many people come to us, obviously cancer, Crohn's disease, but also, arthritis, people who have so many different TBI, diabetes. It can just help relieve a lot of symptoms. So
yeah,
it's amazing, really.
It really is. And just to see from afar some of the the positive effects of it with somebody in and health distress. It's really great to see. But you guys have a really unique background on this because you actually you had a dispensary for some time, correct? And were you a part of that industry as well?
Yes. So essentially, when we in 2014, when we were putting our efforts towards lobbying and trying to explain and convince people to at least take a look at the medical benefits and what people were actually experiencing, because there wasn't the funding behind the research. We had to go on what were people actually experiencing. So we were conveying that to lawmakers, and at that time, we had put in some effort with another a small group of people to try to get a dispensary license in Illinois. At the time, they only allowed about 60 licenses.
Wow.
And so we wrote the application with, like I said, a couple other people applied, and we were awarded a license in Canton, Illinois. And we opened a dispensary called Salveo Health and Wellness. And from there, you're talking, we opened a dispensary in a really kind of rural
Right.
setting in Illinois, right? So with sort of an aging population. And so we weren't sure how the community was going to feel about us, right?
Right.
I had went all through school there. I still had a lot of family there, generations of family. So we set out to educate people on what actually was going on and what was going to happen in the dispensary and what we were going to be providing, people, and what this meant, what the laws meant, what it meant for people who did get on the program. And so I actually ended up doing over 350 seminars all around the state of Illinois.
Oh, wow.
Within a couple year period, about 4 years, I would say. 2.5 to 4 years, I was out on the road continuously doing seminars. But what we wanted to do was get rid of the stigma. And what we found was that there was an incredible aging population of people who were in horrible pain, and they were horribly addicted to prescription drugs. The amount of people we came across that were addicted to Oxycontin and Vicodin, it was shocking. We're talking 75-year-old, 80-year-old people, 85-year-old people, horribly addicted, and their grandchildren and their children, of course, adult children, were bringing them to our seminars so that they could understand the difference between the prescription drugs they were taking and the natural alternative benefits that they could get possibly from medical cannabis. So that really started changing people's perception around the state. They started to really look at it as not so much this, hippie. Not that any of that is bad, but you've got this stereotype, you've got this stigma, you have this reefer madness generation that was still hanging on.
Well, exactly. And Caprice, on top of that, I had a commercial when I was a kid where if you smoked cannabis, that you were going to turn flat,
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. You were going to flatten into that couch, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're right. So that was tough, and it took some time and efforts of people. I got out there and did that, but there were groups of people throughout Illinois, advocates who were, we were, no pun intended, or pun intended, you could say, we were a grassroots, right. But we were boots on the ground. We were getting in, we were really talking to people, and we were talking to people not really like their physicians were talking to them. In fact, we found that just like myself, the experiences I had in Colorado, doctors didn't want to talk about it, or they got very upset. Mm-hmm. Many people were kicked out of their own doctor's offices for bringing it up.
Really?
Yes. So I myself had an experience in Colorado about 10 years before it was legalized in Colorado. My children were small. They were toddler to 8, 9 years old. And I was sick with Crohn's disease. And so I was going to the doctor constantly. And my physician, who I had had for several years, I started feeling comfortable with. And so I told him one day, because he asked me why I wasn't taking my medications anymore. And I told him I was feeling much better. I thought the medications were maybe making my stomach hurt. And he said, well, what are you doing? Because you look good and, this and that. And I said, well, I've been using cannabis. And he stopped and he actually said to me, you have 3 children, don't you? And I said, yes. And he said, I will call social services on you.
Are
And he made me, no, I'm not kidding. And he made me leave the office. And I went out of my car in a panic. I sobbed way before cell phone, so I couldn't call anyone. I had to get home to my phone to call my mom. I was so
That's
scared.
so terrible. That's terrible.
Yeah. And it was the only thing that was keeping me working to feed my kids. See, because the pills were keeping me down every day. I couldn't work. I was almost about to go on disability at the age of 25. And everything changed after I started using cannabis. Then I'm working full time. I'm a mom. I'm all in. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing the right way. And then I get this threat. So what I found in Illinois was people were getting threatened. They were getting kicked out of offices. They were getting degraded. They were getting judged. They were made to feel like drug addicts when literally doctors were feeding them Oxycontin, but they
Exactly.
were made to feel like drug addicts because of cannabis. So I set out. I made a vow to myself. I was going to stop this and get out there and put the truth out there. This was what was happening to people.
Wow.
So in that, I started recruiting physicians that wanted to talk about cannabis. I called them cannabis friendly physicians,
Hmm.
non-judgmental. They'll talk to you. They'll listen to your story. You don't have to lie to them. You don't have to hide. And they're not going to judge you. And so that's how Medical Cannabis Outreach then was born out of that. So, because we wanted to give people a safe place to come and talk to an actual network of physicians that could talk about cannabis to them. So,
That's incredible. And how has that that journey been for you since you kind of transitioned into providing this resource for so many individuals? I mean, it's got to be put a smile on your face and a tingle in your spine, huh?
I'm telling you, really, honestly, a dream come true. When I was that young gal, I'm 56 now. When I was that young 25-year-old mom in that car in the doctor's office parking lot, shaking and crying, thinking my kids were going to get taken away from me and I was going to lose a good job. I had a great job. Um, I to think that 20 some years later, 30 years later, that I've been on this incredible journey. I've met so many incredible people. I've met some really sick, sad people who are desperate for help. And we've gotten them the non judgmental help that they need because they're able to be listened to for the first time. And so the rewards that I've gotten from this, from helping so many people it has been the most incredible thing I've ever done in my life, and I'm so thankful for it every day. We're going into our 8th year.
Wow.
um yeah, we have, in fact, we have gotten over 50,000 people in the state of Illinois certified to the medical cannabis program, going almost pushing almost 60,000. Yeah. So
You can't say that nonchalantly. That is an astronomical number. I mean, that is,
yeah.
and to me, not to cut you off, but especially with so much personal, personal, connection and attachment to this, Caprice, it's got to make you feel some type of way, knowing that you went from where you were, when you were 25 to where you are now. 50,000, close to 60, is incredible.
It is. And thank you for saying that. There have been times, there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in this. And this is our baby. My husband, Eric, has been essential in this. It is our baby, our true belief. And we've put our heart and soul into it. But there have been times where I have been on my knees and I have just cried with feeling so blessed that I got the chance, the opportunity to touch people's lives and get them the help that they need. I can't tell you how many people we've seen that have broken their addictions to alcohol, Oxycontin, Vicodin, morphine. I mean, and then on top of that, we help children who are dying of cancer.
Exactly.
Um, so there's this other side of this, where a very compassionate side, where we have mothers and fathers and grandparents who come to us with maybe a 3-year-old with terminal brain cancer. And that's when it really got real to us, that to give this child the opportunity to have some palliative care during maybe their hospice time,
Right.
um, where they're able to eat and be with mom and dad and be cognitive. And that has been absolutely life changing for us. So we help a lot of children. A lot of families come to us because they know that we're able to provide the 2 physicians that are needed to sign off for a minor. And so, anyway, you know what? It's just been amazing. And the people of Illinois and the small town in Canton where I grew up, everyone welcomed us with open arms.
That's
So even though,
incredible.
yeah, let me just say that, even though there was the stigma and there was
Right.
all this stuff, look, people have been amazing and very open to, they've lost so many family members to drug addiction and to cancer, and to, when you see your family members suffering or in horrible pain and you can give them something where they can eat, laugh again, sleep, why wouldn't you?
Exactly. And you know what? On top of the drug addiction thing, Caprice, I something I didn't
Mhm.
disclose to you is that I am a pro wrestler and I travel this, around and I do my
Okay.
shows.
Yeah.
And for the amount of
Right.
pro wrestlers that have overdosed on pain medicine, I mean, just
Yes.
ruin their life. The moment they started shifting the policy of cannabis, those deaths and those addictions, they started to subside a little bit because they had the option to utilize cannabis without the threat of losing the job when they're in too much pain to even move. And it's so remarkable that we've come
Yeah.
so far. And we only have about 5 minutes left in this, and I wanted to
Okay.
kind of get right into this process. So when you help
Sure.
somebody, how does this start? What's the first step they do? Do they call you? Do they email you? And then what's your guys' first step in helping?
Okay. So basically, we have simplified the process. Obviously, after almost 8 years, we've got it down to a science, right? So
Right.
at this point, we're 100% virtual, but you give us a call or find us online at www, of course, medicalcannabisoutreach.com. And you can go on there, contact us, schedule an appointment. It's very simple. And we encourage people to look at this program. And people will say, well, cannabis is legal recreationally for people over 21. But when you're a medical cannabis patient in Illinois, you'll pay half the taxes for your medicine. Not even half, I'm sorry. It's much lower than that.
Hmm.
The recreational tax is humongous. So you're taxed less. You're able to grow your own medicine if you want to. If you're inclined, it's legal to do so as a medical cannabis patient. Um, but you call us and you get going with our physician. Very easy. Sometimes, most of the time, we have same day appointments. You don't have to leave your house. You don't even have to get on the computer and be like on a face to face. You can do it on your phone, do a phone call. Um, and from there, we hold your hand through the whole thing. We do free application processing. There is a small fee for the physician, but we do free application processing. And before you know it, within a small amount of time, a day or two, you've got your medical cannabis card and you're going into the dispensaries where you can talk to professionals who can help you get the right product for your ailments. So
Wow. That's
simple
incredible.
process.
That's
Yeah, we have a
incredible.
isn't it though? I mean, honestly, it's just such a great process that works for people. And we have an incredible network of doctors. So it's not just one physician. We have a network of physicians, and you can discuss all of your ailments with these physicians. And they're more than happy to not just talk cannabis with you, but they want to give you full palliative care. And so, yeah, it's a great process. Hey, you can get your card, not leave your house, talk to a physician. And like I said, the application process in Illinois sometimes can be tricky for people. So we hold your hand and and walk you through the whole thing at no charge. So
That's incredible. I mean, to me, that's a win-win because, I think that's a lot of why some people are hesitant in Illinois to do the medical card program, because sometimes it is a little bit confusing if you aren't aware of some of the things that you have to do and you're just stepping into it the first time. And to have an asset like you guys who are experienced in this and have helped thousands of people, literally tens of thousands of people, I'm going with you guys. That's a no-brainer. I mean, that's just simple.
Right. And thank you for saying that, because we believe so too. We did not want to, in the beginning, we created this from the ground up. And our main goal was to not only just be completely compassionate towards people, but to give them an easy, painless process where they could walk away and go, wow, that was amazing. And honestly, that's how we've grown so much too. People go and tell their friends and family about us, and that's how we've had this incredible growth. In fact, we actually at this point now service 6 states.
Wow.
And getting ready to move into about 12 more states, because things have changed. Yeah. The landscape has changed so much in cannabis and medical cannabis. And so we service people in Missouri and Iowa and soon to be Arkansas and
Did you
Louisiana.
expect it to grow this way?
No. If anyone would have told me this, I would have said, you're crazy. What are you smoking? No. Right.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
This has been so fun, and I've really enjoyed learning every minute of this conversation. Have you had an experience? I'm sure you've had one where maybe you had an individual that was kind of informed about this and said, "Well, I'll look into it," and it was standoffish to this idea at first, and was kind of
Sure.
just leery. Can you take us through that and how maybe you were able to help kind of bridge the gap that they had with cannabis and normalizing it?
Absolutely. And honestly, I hate to keep mentioning sort of the age thing, but, the younger generation has had a lot of experience with cannabis around them. And so
Right.
when we've had some of the older generation, we got a gentleman on the program who was 102 one time. And his, like I said, his grandkids and great grandkids had brought him to us. And so he was very skeptical and on the fence. And he told us, and his wife, she was also very skeptical, that she didn't want to have it in the house. And we understood that. We wanted them to be comfortable. So anyway, he went ahead and got on the program, and it was a couple weeks later, the wife and him showed up at one of our seminars we were doing, which it was probably maybe a half hour from, their hometown. But I thought, gosh, why are they here? And so after the seminar, they wanted to talk to me, come over, and the wife, she said, I want to tell you something. My husband acts like he's 50 years old again. She said, I don't even recognize this man. She said, he is something else. He's not grouchy anymore. He's eating, he's laughing. The grandkids, she said he went to one of their great grandsons' ball games, which he had not been able to attend one before.
Wow.
And so life had absolutely completely changed for this couple who were, like I said, he was 102 and she was like 96, 97, something like that. But yeah. I mean, I will never forget them and the smile on her face. And they drove a half hour, like I said, to come and see us, to tell us this, what had went on with him. And so incredible stories like that. And then we've had some amazing stories too with cancer patients that have been sometimes miraculous, and sometimes just people have gotten absolute relief that they have needed, maybe at the end. So we've really seen it all. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely. And Caprice, I could literally talk to you all day. We're only supposed to talk for 10 to 15 minutes, and then I took you for 25, and I'm sorry for that.
Go on and on, right?
Well, this has been so much fun, and we have 30 seconds left. What's the website, and what are the ways to reach you?
Okay, yeah. So website again, Medical Cannabis Outreach.com. And we're on Facebook as well. Phone number 844-626-4200. 844-626-4200.
I appreciate it. Caprice Sweatt, thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, thank you guys for having us. We really appreciate it. And feel free, anyone out there, to give us a call. Even if you have questions, we're happy to answer.
Absolutely, and I highly encourage it. Caprice, thank you for your time, and thank you all for tuning in today. It is 10:59 in the heart of the Riverbend. Tomorrow, I'll see you at 9 o'clock on the dot. So on that note, have a great Wednesday, and try your best to stay out of jail.